once you got to analyze the film a little bit, is there anything else that kind of stood out to you in that loss that carries over into the preparation for this game? Or was it pretty much as you thought?
Yeah, I'm always bad, as you know, after a game. And I'm very reliant on data because I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I think the things that we talked about were the problems. And I don't want to discredit in any sort of way LSU, their players, their program, their coach. We weren't very good at all of those things. But our energy was low. Our communication level was poor. Our camaraderie, our competitive character. In many respects, I think a lot of the things that we have worked really hard for that to be the standard was not apparent. And I think that that would be all of the things that you and I talked about were byproducts of what I just mentioned. So specific to Auburn, statistically, it's the best team since Coach Burrow's been the head coach there. They've always had really good players. They've had enormous success. But statistically, up until this point, this is the best team that he's had. They've played 6 Power 5 teams, and their average margin of victory is 20. That's almost unheard of across the country. So we spent all day yesterday, Travis, trying to properly diagnose the standard in regards to the things that we want to be about, regardless of opponent, regardless of locale. We spent some time this morning on some of the most important pieces of Auburn, but to be transparent, regardless of opponent and regardless of locale, we've got to get back to what I believe, without ego, we've built the program on, and we worked that on Saturday.
Was that surprising to you that kind of came, because that, I don't think you could, at least I'm thinking back and think of that was ever, has been a problem in recent history.
Thanks for saying that. I don't like to talk about, I try to make sure that everything I say is without arrogance. And so that's kind of why I'm slow and overly wordy. I kind of felt it a little bit because I think all of these soft skills that we're talking about, it's all an intangible. And I kind of felt it, but it was more apparent the more I watched it. And that was, we didn't practice yesterday. We didn't talk about Auburn yesterday. We're behind relative to where we normally are in preparing for an opponent. But I don't think that you can spend time, energy, emotion on someone else if you have something that needs to be healed. And so we worked on that all day yesterday and spent 88% of our time on that again today. I was not expecting it. But as I told our guys, it would be foolish of me to point the finger at them. I should point the finger at me and diagnose the program, because that's not specific to just the players. That's everybody, because if culture, the word that every coach uses, are your habits, then our habits were not revealed on Saturday. And that's a reflection of everybody, with me at the front.
You know, the last few years, y'all were having so much offensive success, attacking the basket with your guards, getting fouled, making free throws. Is that still the plan? And if it is, or whatever, how much has, at this time, Tyrese's physical situation influencing that?
I think our free throw rate is, it's good. It's not been at the level that it has been. Is some of that because Boots hasn't played? Probably. Do I think Boots is fine? Yes. Do I think he's behind in accumulated game reps? Yes. Do I think that our offense, we're kind of doing the same things that we've been doing the last 2.5 years? Do I think some of it is predicated on getting fouled? Yeah. But our numbers through today may not be, they may be a little skewed because of what you said.
How do you battle a team that's averaging like 85 points a game and you're coming off a game where you, didn't hit 26%?
Yeah, I think if we try to get in a scoring contest, I think we've played Auburn 6 times, and all 6 times, statistically speaking, offensively, they've been better than we have in regards to their talent and the pace of their play. They're not the fastest team in the country, but they're real fast, and they're potent at the rim on the offensive glass, but also on rim finishes. Number 2 is an incredible prospect. Number 4 put his name in the draft and almost stayed in the draft. Number 1 is a McDonald's All-American. They're really good. The transfer from Florida International is starting for them. And number 44, who comes off the bench for them at the post, he's probably an SEC starter coming off the bench. I think the 2 freshmen that they had on the team that are returning are dramatically better. The junior college kid, he may be the best junior college prospect in the country that's playing Division I this year. All of them can score. And because they've been beating people so much, Daryl, like for the most part, they play 10 players and everybody plays 20 minutes. A little bit of variance with number 4 and number 2, but they've only played in, I think, 3 games that have not been double digits. So their offensive numbers are superlative. But whether we had a good game against LSU offensively or not, if we're going to get in a scoring contest with them, we're not going to win.
Were there aspects of the first half against LSU that you can go back and say, it seemed like a frustrating half, but, given that y'all were, probably not playing your best, even then you still went into the locker room, relatively even. Can you, if we can make that sort of the low point of our game, is there anything you can draw from that?
Yeah, I think that's probably why I didn't have all the right answers to Travis's question. I didn't think we were playing good, but I didn't think that, it was just awful. And then with I think it was 11 and a half minutes left, it's a tie ball game at 42 points. I did not think we were playing good either. But the energy and all of those words that coaches use, I never thought it was great. And then when I watched it, I was like, it's really bad. And why is it really bad? But for instance, we've shot the ball worse, and not being sarcastic. Our offense is ranked 5th in the country entering the LSU game. I understand, Buzz, you can't coach. Buzz, recruit somebody that can shoot. Buzz, throw it inside to somebody. All of the things. I get all of it. Completely, I get all of it. Rightfully so. We were 330th in threes entering the game. Statistically, we shot it our average. So after 13 games, playing as many quad 1 games as any team in the country other than Purdue, we've played the same as Purdue. Our field goal percentage was the same. What was hurting us was we were not getting offensive rebounds at the rate that we do, which means we actually shoot more balls. And even though we can't shoot, volume suggests if you shoot more, you'll have a chance to at least make a few, even though percentage-wise you're not shooting very well, if that makes sense. So I think we had made 14 free throws at halftime and scored 32 points. So to Olin's point, Buzz, guys don't get fouled. I understand Olin. Boots needs to play more. Boots needs to get fouled more. We scored 14 points from the free throw line at halftime, and you're winning by 2, and you're still playing bad. And so, like, it's a variety of a lot of things. But at halftime, I was like, yeah, we need to play better. We should play better. We will play better. We have played better. And then we actually played worse. And so I think that's more what I felt after watching it, even though I wasn't good at articulating that in postgame.
Were you able to diagnose kind of where the bad vibe came from?
Yeah, so I normally don't do it like this, but because I sensed that there was something that needed to be discovered differently, I watched every offensive possession only. And then I watched every defensive possession only. And then I don't know how to explain it because I'm a first grader when it comes to technology. Then I went back and watched them again, and you can make notes on each possession. So I went through all the offensive ones again. Then I went through all the defensive ones again. And if you're only watching the offensive clips, you kind of miss the context, right? Because it's just synergy that's coded it. So after I did that the second time and made my notes, then I watched the game. And that's when you can see the bench. That's when you can see timeouts. That's when you can see what you saw. You can see the whole game. And I think that's kind of when this is probably early Sunday morning by the time I've gotten to that third time through, where it started becoming more clear to me on what I needed to articulate to our group, but also what I wanted them to see. And so from a tactical standpoint, a lot of the things that we have done well, we weren't doing well. Some of that was what I mentioned in postgame. Well, they know what we do well, too. There's no secrets. But our determination, our intensity, our fight, our willpower, whatever those words are, it was too low. Our kids would say, it's not sweet anymore. In other words, it's not easy. And I think too often in a lot of those possessions, we were the ones that were being sweet.
Coach, if I could go back to, you said earlier that you're not going to be able to win those games if you're going to try to get in a track meet with Auburn.
No.
So how are you going to, and I don't want you to give away secrets.
Yeah, I can't give away all the secrets, Daryl. Especially on your first time coming this year. I can't tell you everything. Right, Olin? Olin, I hit you with that. I've actually known Daryl longer than I've known you.
So how do you feel like that you can attack Auburn and beat them?
A couple of things. One, like any team, they play really fast, and you fuel their offense if you give them live ball turnovers. So we have to make sure we get a shot, and then we need to have a presence on the offensive glass because we're putting so much pressure on the rim that slows down, and that's the first stage of our transition defense. And then if we score on a free throw, if we get fouled, or if we score a made basket, we need to have some plan on how to gear them down so it's not a track meet. They're really fast. I think 41% of their points have happened in transition, or 41% of their attempts. But in truth, Daryl, they're just as potent in the half court with number 2 and number 4. And you can almost see when you watch them play, the first 6 seconds of the possession, really fast. Don't take a shot. And now in the half court, coach is very well known for, I think he worked for Dr. Tom Davis at Iowa, who ran the flex when you were in college. And they're really good at it. And they have 2 guys with size, strength, and skill, and they're really good in the half court.
All right, we gotta go.
We're not in a rush. The plane's broke.
Oh, really?
So I think if we play teams that start with A, that means there's a higher probability that there will be travel issues.